So you guys just did your games of the year, your own version of it yesterday, right?
No,
Or
it was
or
New Year's.
last
on the
week?
31st.
New
Oh,
Year's Eve.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
crazy! What am I nuts? That
I don't know what
has
we
a
played.
week already went by? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were playing
Just less than a
Bibaud
week.
yesterday on the stream.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do that every year. I'm glad we're doing this kind of episode because I'm always jealous, and I don't really talk about this stuff anymore. No one's super into it that I know, and no one has a podcast really. But you guys, I'm always like, oh man, it'd be fun to talk about our games of the year. So you guys have already revealed to some degree your top 10.
Yeah, our top
Yeah,
10.
we did top 10s.
And yeah.
And we're going to do this pretty loosely. I feel like we kind of have a plan. I think we're going to, just for time wise, do a top 5 from everybody. But we can also talk about our other ones outside of that at the end if we want to just mention runner ups or things like that too.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah. And I have a couple questions that I might, depending on time, I might throw out there at the end as well. But we were talking in Discord about how we would do this. So I'm thinking, yeah, we'll go one round at a time. So everyone will reveal like their number 5 and then number 4. And whoever is revealing, I think we should start off with someone new every round, just so everyone gets a chance to be like the first revealer, I guess. And then, yeah, you just say why, you can talk about it. Everyone can jump in. The only thing we were wondering is like, how do we want to do if we have a duplicate? So like if my number 1 is the same as Pants's number 3, do I just not say anything? Should I just wait to be more exciting and like reveal, or
It's
Or you can reveal it then, I think. Or
yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I know. I feel like for this, just because it's a bit looser, we might as well just do one at a time. And then if if that happens, if my number 3 is your number 1, or vice versa, you can just kind of chime in, but maybe save things.
Yeah, because I don't have to, like I was saying, I don't have to say why it was going to be on my list. I can just be like, yeah, I like that game. It's good, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, or respond to like what I'm like. If I say I like this, you can be like, oh, I loved that too, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is a tricky line. Like
Yeah.
The way we do it on our show is basically we'd skip it. So like I wouldn't reveal my number 3 until we got to your number 1, and then we'd all talk about it together.
Doesn't that kind of reveal it in an opposite way? Or
to each other, at least.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
We'd all have to know each other's lists, first of all.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm really curious, actually. Yeah. I know
was
you
really
guys have...
for us this
Yeah, go.
year, because like my top 3, I think, or even like 3 of my top 5 were in Grimpin's bottom 5, like bottom in his top 10.
Yeah.
And then I had my number 9 was his number 2, I think. So it was just like we had so many. It was just a mess this year. We just skipped so many numbers.
My number 8 was your number 3. And
Yeah, it was just
It's
like,
just
so
silent
you, like,
for the
revealed-
first half.
Yeah, I think you revealed your number 10, and then we skipped to your number 6. Yeah, it was just like it was weird, but it's tricky.
And then we were like, oh shit, we've been doing this for 4 hours and rushed through our number 1 and 2.
Yeah, we literally like
yeah.
had to rush through the last ones because we had not talked for so long.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Jeremy only because, and I'm going to just ask this now, and I don't care either way, but I know that you do your top 10 lists differently, which is you include everything that you just play in that calendar year, regardless of what year it was released in. Are you doing that for this, or are you playing only 2025 games? Or
no,
talking
about I'm kind of torn because for this I'm just doing games that released in 2025.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see how other people filled their lists, because I don't think I could fill a top 5 this year with what I played. I didn't think it was a particularly great year for games that I like anyways. And so I'm curious to see what everyone else has, at least for the first couple spots, because it would be a stretch for me to give a top 4.
Interesting.
Well,
that's funny because I know Grimpin and I have talked about this on our show, how strongly we feel that it was an amazing year. I feel completely the opposite.
I've got like a top like 20, I'm confident.
And
in.
yeah, usually I struggle to make 10 games that I beat in a year. Usually my top 10 is like the 10 games I beat that year. And this year I have games up to like 14, 15 that I put like 40 plus hours into and loved. But there was just so many other games that I loved this year that I couldn't. Yeah, it was crazy. It's a crazy year for me.
I'm sort of a mix of both. I did like the year, but I'll explain how I do my rankings because it is a bit differently than some people as well. But I do this with movies, TV shows, game, everything I consume is at the start of the year. Like the first game I play is automatically game of the year because it's the only thing I've played.
Right.
The next game I play, I compare it directly with whatever is on my list. So I'm like, is it better or worse than that? And I just put it above or below on my notepad. And by the end of the year, I have a natural, organically formed list. So for this, I do have every game I've ever played. And the top 10, they're not necessarily my top favorites, and I wouldn't even recommend some of them I don't even like, but they are there by nature of just because there's so few kind of games. So
you
like
played them.
Yeah, so like I do have 4 games I definitely enjoyed, and then everything else below that is kind of like I could swap in and out. They're not even some of them on the list I didn't really necessarily I wouldn't even recommend, but yeah, I'll talk about those I guess later on.
That's usually how my lists go too. Like the bottom 5 are like I could take or leave a lot of these games. This year though, my top 10 are all like 9s for me. I loved them all.
The theme for mine is almost every game that I would put my stamp of like I love this game. They're all unusual games that I would normally not play, or they're in genres I don't typically like. They're all kind of wild cards that I ended up really liking. So I'm pretty curious. I'm very curious for everyone's.
That is interesting, and I would say opposite for me. Same as like what Jeremy said. This was like opposite of that. There was a lot of games that were just my style this year, and just games that I liked that felt like they were made for me.
A lot of ninjas. Like, I'm thinking.
I know. Absolutely. We've already. Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah. The last episode I was on, we talked about like half of the games that are going to be on my list. So.
My games, I think they're for the most part pretty strange. Like as far as what the genres are.
They're pretty varied, I would say. There's lots of.
It's really varied this year.
Yeah.
This is almost my favorite part. I could talk for 2 hours of like pre-reveal, like
being vague,
totally around games.
Yeah.
I also think that if I played more Steam game, like just PC games in general, I'd probably have more hits. But I don't have, other than my Ally, I don't have a way to play Steam games, and so it's just all console. And so there's just not as much like inventive, off the beaten path stuff on console. So I end up this year, in particular, I end up with like a pretty kind of like what I would consider like a pretty pedestrian list, like an average list. So
yeah, a lot of my favorite games that I played were on PC this year. But also, I'll say that I think Game Pass had a really, really good year. There were so many good Game Pass games this year.
Yeah,
and that's how I played a lot of my games too this year.
First half was very strong for me. I thought I was like, if that didn't loosen or lighten up, it would have been like an all-timer year for me. But around June, July, it started to slow down. Ish, but the first half I was just obsessed with a couple games.
It was all hilarious how
the indie games really picked up. I feel like towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Wow. But then, interesting.
Yeah, for me,
it's funny.
All second half of the year.
Part of what I've done so far in the new year is I'm doing kind of a spring cleanup, and part of that was I wrote this huge thing in Discord for some reason about what I was doing, but I kind of want to phase out my consoles because I think I'm going to be investing heavily into the Steam ecosystem going forward. Only because I'm not sure what's going to happen. Like Xbox seems very odd. I don't know what their plan is going forward. They're very wild card, and like I don't even know if they're going to keep making. I guess they have said they are going to, but like I don't. It just seems like
but yeah.
But that might just be a PC with an Xbox stamp on the corner of it.
And they're not selling them right now. Like I just saw an article that they were down like 30% or something from last year or something.
That random console is even beating them. That weird children's toy or whatever that's called.
They're not even trying. It seems like to sell consoles.
Yeah,
like they just sell Game Pass.
That kind of worries me because
to get in now.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, seeing like
I have this. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna. I have this like tinfoil hat theory that Cooper, you and I talked about it a little bit before, but everyone's talking about the RAM shortage that's going to come up and that's going to plague consoles, the next round of consoles, and nobody will be able to make machines or anything. I have this tinfoil hat theory that Xbox has been purposefully pulling back on distributing the Series X so it can cannibalize it for the RAM that's in the systems they already have. Because they know they're not going to sell them anyways. So why leave them on the shelves when that's just great RAM that they could use to put into their next system? That's my tinfoil hat theory.
I could see it.
Yeah.
They're also, so because of the stability where I'm not sure where the future is with Xbox, that's typically where I've spent a lot of time building my library, and they've done a good job at doing backwards compatibility and all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of investment time already in Microsoft, but I'm a little worried about that. Nintendo, I feel like, is just going to keep doing what they always do. I don't really see them changing that much. And then Sony, I don't know. They're also maybe one more console generation, and then I feel like everything will just kind of become like Steam or PC or something. And Steam already has access to most of Microsoft and Sony's exclusives.
Well, PlayStation ones you have to wait like 6 months generally, but then
they're cheaper and better.
They come though.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They get released. Yeah.
So I'm thinking either like Steam Machine will be in my future, or just a PC that I hook up to my TV. So I thought I'd test it out just to see what it's like. I have a 10-year-old PC that was in my storage that I got for Oculus Rift forever ago, and I was like, I wonder if it still works. And I hooked it up to my TV. I played a game. I won't say what it is because it's maybe on my list, but it's released 2025. Decently looking game, and it runs fine. I'm on big picture mode, and I'm like, this is pretty great actually. So I'm kind of thinking of going that route in the future. I don't know. I was going to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on the current state of the industry, or going forward? Do you see yourself, all these rumors, do you think that'll affect how you buy, or do you still think you're going to do all the consoles and all that kind of stuff?
I kind of switched when I got my Steam Deck like 2.5 or 3 years ago. Like I just switched to PC then because it did feel more stable and way like you just have the opportunity to get games way cheaper, way more often.
Yeah.
So I just switched with that for the most part. I still got PlayStation games, but since I got a new PC earlier this year before everything went crazy, I haven't really turned on my PlayStation all year either, other than for Jackbox. So it's I kind of subconsciously switched without meaning to at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I honestly think this. I know. There's probably going to be games that are not first party on all of our lists, but I think all three of the big, like Microsoft, Sony, Xbox, should be embarrassed by this, like by their output this year, but also this generation. Like, and I would say Sony in particular because there's people put them on such a high pillar for their first party output, and they bring out all these narrative style games, and there's like Naughty Dog hasn't even made a game this generation. That's crazy.
Returnal is really, 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 really good, but I can't think of any others that are this generation Sony.
Yeah, like Insomniac has done a ton of heavy lifting early in the generation for Sony. But again, most of their games were cross-platform except for Ratchet and Clank, I believe.
Yeah.
And then there's a Horizon game, also cross-platform, God of War game, cross-platform. And not that I don't care if they're cross-platform, but I just think that this year in particular, like, did they release anything? Did Sony launch any games?
Ghost of Yotai, yeah.
Ghost of Yotai. So like, and I don't like that game, but so I don't know. I just felt like when you look at this generation, like there's no, I can't think of like last year, like the PS4. Actually, I think it was PS3 had Last of Us. PS4 had Last of Us 2. Like there's these big, huge tentpole games like Red Dead or Grand Theft, and maybe they're still coming. Maybe this generate, maybe it's too early to like call it. But man, I just like
it's tricky because they just take so long. Those games,
yeah.
So like,
and there's generational bleed too, where the games were cross generation for like 4 years or until like just recently. It feels like, honestly.
Well, for the first like 3 or 4 years, it was literally every game was still coming out on the previous generation.
Yeah.
And then by the time that switch finally happened, they started talking about the next generation. And I was like, what? We haven't even started this one yet.
I'm not at all ready for that.
Like if we're talking about like, where we want consoles to go, I don't want them to release a new console for a long time. I think we're okay with this level of fidelity. And like, and I'd love to just work on this level and get the costs down and get like and release more games and stuff. Like
the difference from 4 to 5 on PlayStation was fairly like it was load times got a lot better, but it was fairly negligible. Like
and like
games don't need to get that much better looking.
No, exactly.
And maybe like just let some of these huge studios like Santa Monica and Naughty Dog just let them make some smaller games. Like
that's it.
Everything doesn't have to be a 60-hour epic with like Hollywood style cutscenes. It can be like a smaller game and be just as good. Like it's just everyone's complaining about costs, and then they're like, well, let's go make our 100-hour open world game. Like
that's the thing. Every game has to be someone's like forever game.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
Anyways. Well, with that optimistic outlook, let's discuss our top. We're gonna do top 5.
Sure. I think just top 5.
All right. Let's start.
Jerry's top 4. All right.
I'm kind of like that as well, sort of. But I'll let's do just because it's how it is on my screen. We'll do pants first for number 5.
Okay.